Hello, welcome to News FBA. First, let me just thank all of my new subscribers over here. We really appreciate you, and we try to continue to do good for you, spreading the good news about FBAs and what we do and accomplishments that we have made. Now, today, I was listening to Sister Carla Cunningham, representative in North Carolina. And she had a lot of interesting things to say, things that I agree with wholeheartedly. Let's listen to a little bit of her and then we'll elaborate on it.
Address a distinct type of migration that we are facing in our country, state, and cities. It's time to turn the conveyor belt off. Let me share with you all what happens when a woman lawmaker like myself choose to move differently. Yes, I was degraded for my vote. Yes, I was called racist for my vote. And yes, I was said I was trash. However, I figured it out. They want me to stop elevating my ancestors' history. They want me to be silent in my country. They want me to line up behind their priorities while my people and communities continue to struggle in our country.
Now, does that sound familiar? Sound like some immigrants, don't it? That be on social media trying to, wanting us to forget our culture, our ancestors, and the things that we've done. Because it's disrespectful to even say that we don't have a culture when our whole culture is right there in front of your face. History, the things and the people who you've heard about in your land is just part of our culture. Let's continue.
Is this not your country? This is my country. With the good and the not so good, this is my country, 'tis of thee. Now, if you want to adapt to my country, not isolate yourself and come here legally, I welcome you. But today, I am telling you, I am not going to be silenced by those who disagree with my ideology on the issue at hand. It was my ancestors who came over as slaves, built this country with a strain on their backs. They sweat pouring from their bodies in the rice fields, the cotton fields, and the tobacco farms for this country. Lived as servants and was the footstool, I said the footstool, for far too many feet to step on. So today, if you ask me to line up behind another group of people to raise awareness about their plight, I unapologetically say no.
Thank you, sister. Thank you, sister. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now this is an FBA woman who is in power, has position, who understands exactly what we've been saying the whole time. Okay? So many examples. That's why me trying to convince some immigrants or people who come from other countries about what position that we hold in America and what position we hold in the world is ridiculous. It makes no difference. It really don't matter. It's just us putting you in your place. We have to make sure you understand that you will not be sitting in our seats, okay? You will not be enjoying our amenities of this country, our amenities of these jobs, our amenity of these beautiful mountains, these oceans, our amenities of these luxury schools that we have, teaching our children who are so smart today, okay? The luxuries of the food that we eat, okay? The infrastructure that we've built, okay? I'm not talking about you guys' stuff because, look, if you want to work at it, it would be smart for you to understand how we worked at it and succeeded at it. Especially in most of your countries, you have millions and millions and, trillions of dollars of resources in your country. And you should exercise them. But if you was to look at us instead of telling us how things go, and learn from us, because we just humoring you guys. We are just entertained by your ignorance. We really don't give a damn about what you think about us as FBAs, and we don't have culture, because we do. It's American culture. It's just that simple. What our culture is American culture. You know something I was wondering? I was thinking the other day, I said to myself, out of all of this beef that we've been having with the African continent, not all of them, but the ones, mostly the ones who are here, okay? These tethers that are in this country, I've never heard them or anyone from any time frame ever talk about the great people who first was brought from Africa, because now let me get this straight. We were already in the United States, okay? So every slave that was owned in the United States didn't come from Africa. Let's get that straight, okay? But the ones that did come from Africa, and even if they didn't, you believe that they did, how come I never heard you guys talk about any stories about them? How come I never heard you guys talk about Sister Harriet Tubman, Brother Frederick Douglass? How come you didn't have no type of pride in them for the achievements and the things that they've done? You don't care nothing about their story. You know all these other stories that we do over here, and things that we do over here, you can quote it verbatim. I mean, right off your tongue. But why I never heard you guys ever being proud of the ancestors which would have been more African than American back then? Never said anything about them. Never talked about them. Never bragged about them. Never threw them in our faces for the things that they've done over here in America. Because you don't give a shit. Okay? The ones who y'all sold, you just discarded them as items for sale. They were discarded and sent. But boy, only if you knew that the ones that you did send were the cream of the crop. If only you knew that God had something special for the seed that they would produce in this promised land, this country. But you didn't think about that. Just like you're not thinking about it now. You could really care less. You could care less. And another thing I was thinking, okay, you guys are of a proud people, okay? You say that the motherland is Africa, and Africa is ultimate place for everyone, should come back. So I'm just thinking, if I was taken from Africa and I was enslaved from Africa, and I told my grandchildren, the ones who didn't get sold, or the people that was in my hut or home that they created for themselves, if you want to call it that, I was constantly letting them know how Africa was, what I could remember, teaching them the culture of Africa. But I have not heard one story of any slave after they were freed going back, to go back to Africa. Not one story of slaves that were freed in America paying their way like so many other slaves paid for their freedom. Frederick Douglass was enslaved twice, I think, if I'm not mistaken, but he was enslaved and bore his way out of slavery. And after freedom came, you would think that they would pay to go back home. I mean, back then it would have been, maybe 200 years removed? So you would say maybe 1 or 2 generations, so you could have went back and really got some recognition of family members and people back in Africa. We definitely are intelligent enough to know how to get back. Once again, we had pioneers back then that were great, who bought themselves from slavery when slavery was still going on. We're free. Why wouldn't they leave a country that was enslaving them, beating them, and not go back? Because they despised you. They despised the people who sold them. They remember standing up there in those chains. They told the stories of the disrespect that those slave catchers from other tribes did. The ignorance, the greed. They wouldn't dream of coming back to that place. And here you want to convince us to come back now after we done built this up? People that were natural Americans or people from this land who was here, people from this land who was here even before any YT came here. Oh yeah, we were here. The destruction of all of the artifacts and things already has been proven. I'm not even trying to argue with you about that because we already know. They would never admit it. They would never say that that's the case because if they did, it would be too much owed. But it's mighty funny how I never heard any of those stories. So I want to thank y'all for stopping through. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Keep doing y'all thing. Keep your foot on their necks. And we continue to strive higher and higher every day. Nothing won't stop us because we can't be stopped. They didn't stop us when we was enslaved, and they damn sure ain't gonna stop us now. Peace and love to all my brothers and sisters. God bless.